Hello everybody, welcome to this week's coaching webinar. This is Tim Mai, of course. And today we're going to go, today is our week number 5 in the Fast Track to Fast Cash JV training coaching webinars that we're doing here. And today we're going to talk about direct mail. I hope by now you have a chance to already watch the replay at dodeals.com/FTFC replay. Or in the emails was sent to you as the JV training. Both of them will take you to the same page, so you're okay there. All right. So I hope you have been watching the replay as well as watching all of the interviews that I've done with the other top wholesalers across the U.S. and hope you have been learning a lot from that. Okay. Week 1 we went through and talked about wholesale deals and networking. Week 2 we went through and talked about internet ads, contacting wholesalers. Let me do this so you can. Week 3 we talked about finding deals on the MLS. Week 4 we talked a lot about direct marketing, how to find deals by driving for dollars, vacant houses. We talked about the unannounced bonus as well. Let me put it out here so that way you guys can see that. And so week 5 here we're going to talk about direct mail, okay? And before we get into today's training, I want to announce that I'm going to be doing a bonus week 8 training because this was going to be a 7-week, but we're going to do a bonus for week 8. We're going to talk specifically about buyers on week 8, how to find them, how to sell to them. More specifically, we're going to be talking about cash buyers and landlord buyers, okay? Not retail buyers. So we're going to be covering that in week 8. So hang on to your hats for that. All right. Well, let's go ahead and get started right now into our training for today. So today we're going to talk about direct mail. There's many different things you can do with direct mail. And this is one of those things where you just kind of have to, depending on your market, you pick and choose one, you test it to see how well it works for your market, and then you expand to the next one. You don't have to, you don't have to try to attack all of these mailing lists at the same time, right? You can go through it one at a time, okay? And so the first type of mailing list I want to talk to you guys about is a pre-foreclosure list. And pre-foreclosure list is the it's the list of homeowners who are going through a pre-foreclosure. They're behind in the mortgage on their mortgage. Perhaps they have a notice of default filed already, or notice of trustee sold already. And you want to market to this list. Now, in today's market, when you're mailing to this list, you're going to get a lot of deals that don't have much equity. So if you're into short sales, then the pre-foreclosure list will work really well for you. And to get the pre-foreclosure list, you can get it from your courthouse, or there's a lot of in most cities there's local listing providers that they have people go down to the courthouse, compile the list, and then sell it on a subscription basis. And what I do, the way I get a lot of short sales through this list is I send them these Versa checks, or these business checks that you can buy, like a blank template business checks from say Office Depot or one of the office supply stores, and so I would buy these blank office business checks, and I would print I would print my company's name on there, and I have it to where it automatically mail merge in the homeowner's name and address into the pay to the order of, and I would send out these checks for say $5,000. And then where the signature line is, it'll say, call us to get this check signed. And so I would send out these checks to the homeowners. And I mean, imagine a homeowner in foreclosure and somebody sending them a check, right? Because a lot of, at that time, a lot of people send them mailings, advertisements, and collections, all kinds of stuff. And so they ignore a lot of those mail, but when they see a check from you, they'll open it, because even on the outside envelope, I'll have it printed to say check enclosed. And doing that, gosh, my response on it has always been very high. And like I said, in today's market, the thing with the pre-foreclosure list is a lot of people don't have equity, and so and so the a lot of people who contact you are going to be short sale candidates. And so if you're into short sales, this is a way that you can get a lot of short sales. I mean, I used to do a lot more short sales than I do now. But when I was using this check and mailing out do short sales, I was doing 15 to 20 short sales a month using this one strategy that I'm sharing with you today. Okay, and so that's the pre-foreclosure list for you. The next type of list that's a pretty good list is a probate list. And probate lists are a little bit harder to get because there's not as many companies out there, local listing companies out there getting the probate list, is because there's not enough probate leads in any given county to make it, to make it worthwhile for them to sell to a lot of people. There are companies out there that sells probate, like here in Houston. We have a company that compiles those lists, but Houston is a big city, so that's probably why we have a company that would do it. But in a lot of other cities, that might not be the case. And when that's not the case, you have to go down to the county clerk's office and do it yourself. So you just go down there and ask them, where you can find, where you can find those records. Okay. And probate is one. Probate is one of my most profitable types of deals compared to other types of deals, is because in a probate situation, a lot of times you have a property that's old, you have a property that hasn't been maintained, so it needs a lot of repairs, and the property is vacant, and then you have these heirs who now inherited the property and want nothing to do with the property. They a lot of time it's too much memories out for them, and they're just not interested in doing anything with those properties, and they don't want it. And the property is owned, a lot of time it's owned free and clear, or there's a lot of equity on there. And so you're able to negotiate with these heirs for a lot of money. I mean, negotiate for pretty big discounts. Yeah, I'll share with you a story of one of the deals that I did that was in probate. There was, I think, a total of 7 siblings, right? 7 siblings, and the dad died, and so the siblings got sort of inherited, well, not sort of, but did inherited this house. And initially, I made them an offer to buy that property for $30,000. Okay, and the sister who was handling it agreed to that. This is a property that was worth, I don't remember it now, but it was worth like around $90,000, all fixed up. Okay, it needs quite some repairs, $20,000 in repairs or so. And that sister agreed, but what happened was the other siblings did not agree to sell it, and they still had a mortgage on this house for $16,000. And to make the long story short, they ended up not selling the property to me, and the sister who was in charge of that at that time she was living there, and then she moved out, and she didn't want to make the mortgage payments anymore, and so she was going to let the house go because none of the siblings was willing to buy it from was willing to sell it. And and so we worked with her, and we told her, hey, look, how about this? How about if you just sell me your part in the deal, your your interest in the deal for $500, and I will deal with your siblings directly, for their parts of the deal. And so since she had nothing to lose, she was already letting the house go. She agreed to that, and so we wrote a contract for $500 for her part. Okay, now I didn't write her a check yet. We just wrote a contract just for her part for $500. And then I tracked down the siblings, and I tracked down the mom, and the mom said that they all wanted to sell the property. It's just that they didn't trust her. They didn't trust that after they closed on the property that she would pay them. And so we found out the real reason why the siblings didn't want it. And so we approached the we told the moms, like, Mom, what's the contact information for each of the siblings so we can contact them. And we made an offer to them. We said, hey, look, your sister already sold it to us sold us her part for $500. If you guys are willing to sell me your part, I can also pay you $500 for each of your parts. So we bought this property for $3,500. We took over the mortgage subject to. All right, so we were in this whole deal with $13,600 on the mortgage, $3,500. So that would be $17,100 or something like that for that deal. So it ended up to be a really sweet deal. It's because they had a lot of equity and probate situation. A lot of times these siblings, they just don't want it, and in this case where they don't even like each other, it makes it even a sweeter deal. But I mean, probate is one of those niches that just have a lot of equity. And as you know, with the baby boomers getting older now, probate is going to be even bigger. I mean, the numbers on it already is way bigger than foreclosures. There's a lot more probates every single month than there are foreclosures. But probate is a longer process, though, because you have to wait until the probate situation finish and them deciding to sell it. And so the uglier the house, the more repairs the house needs, the better deals you're going to get with probate. And so I wanted to put both probates up here for you guys to see. Now, there are a lot. I mean, I can go on and list like tons more lists. Oh, another one I forgot to put 60 to 90 days late list as well. I can go on and on. A lot of different lists that you that you can find. But these are some of the top lists that you see. The top investors use. Use a lot. And so I wanted to focus you on these lists. All right. So next list. This is one of those lists that I probably should put it up here. And the reason why I would put it up here as the first list is because it's one of those lists that is evergreen, meaning it doesn't matter what the market condition is. This is one of those lists that's pretty consistent. You can almost always depend that this list can make money for you. Now, the deals from this list is not necessarily as big of the deals that you get from probate, okay? But it's just one of those strategies that's more consistent. All right, absentee owners list. An absentee owners list are lists of people who own the property but they don't live there. So a lot of time the property is occupied by a tenant, or sometimes it's vacant. Okay, and this is one of those lists that you can buy from list providers like InfoUSA.com or RealQuest. and this is the type of list where you'll be able to get a hold of a lot of tired landlords. Okay. Now here's the challenge with this list is that you do have to weed through. You do have a lot of tire kickers. You have a lot of sort of curious landlords that will call you back, but they won't necessarily sell any properties to you or sell their property to you. And so it's like for example, if you were to compare the absentee owner list with the probate list, the probate list you're gonna get a lot less people contacting you back. For the marketing that you spend. However, the people who do contact you are much better qualified leads. Right? So you'll be talking to less people, but you're talking to more qualified people and bigger deals. Versus the absentee owners list, you'll talk to more people, and the deals are okay. And so you do have to process through more leads to get a deal with absentee owners. Okay, but like I said, it's one of those evergreen type of lists that has always worked and probably will always work. Okay. The next type of list I want to talk to you about is the fire damage list. And fire damage list is one of my favorite types of lists as well. Fire damage and probate, they're my top two favorite lists. And the reason why is because, like probate, fire damage, you're dealing with a lot of homeowners who own the house free and clear, because the insurance company will a lot of time will have already paid off the mortgage on it and pay the seller whatever I'll give you an example to better explain it. I had a rental property that I was renting out, okay, and my tenant's phone charger, I guess, was defective, and it started a fire during the day when he was at work, and a third of the house was burnt down. Okay, so like the back of the house is burnt down, and the insurance company paid me for what the coverage amount I had was, which is the value of the property, and from the check that they paid me, it was enough to cover for my mortgage. So I received I received a check. So I received a check from from that insurance claim already, and then I turn around and I wholesale this house for $33,000. Okay, and I sold it for $33,000. So basically, after I got a check from the insurance company already, I mean, I pretty much own this house free and clear. I could even give the house away for free, and I still have already made pretty good money on that house. But I went ahead and wholesale it for $33,000. And so, and so that's what happened to a lot of fire damage properties. And this is one of those lists where it's not very, like probate, it's not very widely available out there to the public, or a lot of people don't know about it. So you don't have as much competition as, say, the pre-foreclosure list or the absentee owners list. And the way you can get this list is by contacting your city's fire marshal department. And so whatever city you live in, I don't know if your city used like 311, where you can call them and ask them for, or you can go on the internet and search for your city's fire marshal department as well, and contact them and ask them how you can obtain a list of fire incidents. Okay, list of fire incidents. Depending on your city, it could cost you money or it could be free. I'll give you an example. Here in Houston, the city of Houston charges us $5 a day for the fire incidents for whatever days that we want it for, again, however many days. But outside of the city limits for City of Houston, there's the Harris County. And the Harris County will give us this list for free. And so even here, just in Houston, I can get it for free, or it can cost me $5. Of course, the one from the City of Houston that costs us money has a lot more fire incidents than the one that's outside of the city limits, which is for free. And when I go after these fire damage lists, it'll on the list itself will also say the estimate damage amount. And and I normally go after the ones that with at least $20,000 or more in estimate damage amounts, so that way I know that it's a serious fire, that there's a chance that either the insurance company had paid a big chunk of it or paid the whole thing off. Okay, and so and so that's what I do when I'm targeting after this fire damage properties. And I don't recommend for you to rehab fire damage properties, because it's a lot of work and a lot of things can go wrong. And so it's best if you wholesale it to a much more experienced rehabber, unless you're a very experienced rehabber and you know how to handle fire damage properties. I don't recommend for you to, it's not something I would recommend for you to do. Okay. And yeah, I mean, fire damage properties, I have made, I think, as high as $40,000, $50,000 on a wholesale deal with fire damage properties, is because you can buy it for so cheap. Like, I had one that I wholesaled. The property was a rather new property. It was built in 2006, so at that time, it was only like two years old that I did that deal. And the top half of the house, is a 2-story house. Top half of the house was burnt, and I got that property for $15,000. And I offered them $15,000 because that's what the tax appraisal said. Actually, I forgot what. I told them that I can only buy it for lot value, and I don't remember how much the lot value was showing on the tax record. But my team offered the seller $15,000, and we ended up wholesaling that deal for like $44,000, I think. I forgot. It was 44 or 50,000. I don't remember. It's been since 2008, so it's been a while. But I mean, and like I said, this is a big 2-story, 3,000 square foot house that we bought for $15,000. So it's really cheap. And that's what I love about these fire damage properties, is because the homeowners, they don't really care, because they already made money from the insurance claim, and so any extra money is good for them. Okay. All right. So next type of list that I used to also go after a lot is the code violation list. And every city calls this department a little bit different. Like here in Houston, they call it the dangerous building department. So you've got to find out from your city what your city calls the code violation list is. But basically, it's a list of properties that have code violations, and and the city has sent the homeowner a notice. When you go after the code violation list, there's sort of 2 sub-lists. One, you have the people who just been notified that there's code violation on their properties. And then another list is a list of people who were notified that there was a court date set, and it was after the hearing. And so that means that the court date has passed, and they still haven't fixed up their property yet. And so the list I want you to go after is the one that happened after the hearing. Right? because you want to know for sure that they didn't fix it up yet. So what I did there is I send them my my postcard that basically let them know that I buy houses for cash, that I'm interested in buying their property. So that's a pretty good list as well. Okay. Another list that's very similar to the code violation list is the condemn list. It's also provided from the dangerous building department as well. I don't know, like I said, your city might be different, so contact your city and find out find out there. Okay. All right. Another type of list that's also pretty good, and this list is also very good for short sales. Okay, this list is also very good for short sales. Is the bankruptcy list. And bankruptcy list, there's sort of two types of bankruptcy lists. There's that are good, and depending on the type that you go that you mail to, the timeline is different. The first type of bankruptcy list are the people who just filed bankruptcy. You see, majority of the people who file bankruptcy are the people who are in foreclosure, and they're trying to file bankruptcy to delay that foreclosure process. Okay, and so there's the new file people. A lot of time what I do is when they just file for bankruptcy, I don't mail them right away. I'll wait for like 30 days, and then I'll mail them because 30 days, because majority of people who file for bankruptcy do not go through with the entire bankruptcy. They'll default on their bankruptcy, and they'll get kicked out of bankruptcy. So I normally will wait for 30 days because when they just file for bankruptcy, they think that they have, they think that the problem is solved, and now they're going to have a lot of time. And so I'll wait for 30 days. Another type of bankruptcy list that's really good is it's the one that just got dismissed out of bankruptcy. And when they get dismissed out of bankruptcy, that means that that means that they have been kicked out of bankruptcy, and they have been kicked out of bankruptcy because they didn't fulfill their commitments within their obligations within the bankruptcy. Because what happened in bankruptcy, there's two types of there's a Chapter 13 bankruptcy and Chapter 7 bankruptcy. Chapter 13 bankruptcy is it's a consolidation plan. So basically, the court consolidate the homeowners, all of their payments into one payment. And so instead of making, let's say, they have 10 creditors, instead of paying out to 10 different creditors, they make one payment to the trustee, and then the trustee use that money to distribute among those creditors. Okay, and so a lot of time in a Chapter 13 bankruptcy, their payments is not necessarily less. It's just that it's consolidated in one. And a Chapter 7 bankruptcy is it's where the trustee will try to liquidate as much as possible, sell whatever off, so that way they can pay for all the creditors and everybody involved. So it's not a payment plan like Chapter 13. Well, 80% of people who file Chapter 13 bankruptcy will get kicked out of bankruptcy because they can't fulfill their payments. Because now not only they have to pay for their mortgage payments, but they have to pay for all the creditors, and so the payment's pretty high. And so majority of them get kicked out. And so so by going after the Chapter 13 dismissed bankruptcy and mailing to them, you'll be able to catch them before their house gets foreclosed on again. Because after they get kicked out of bankruptcy, the foreclosure proceeding starts again. And so by mailing it to them after they get kicked out of bankruptcy, sometimes this is called the post-bankruptcy list. you'll be able to get a hold of them and buy the property from them. And this is another one of those lists that's really good for short sales. Okay, and you can buy this list by going onto this site right here and create an account, and you can buy it. pacer.psc.uscourts.gov. Okay, or go online and search for Pacer, and you'll be able to find it. Okay. Another type of list that that is also good and to find is the Section 8 landlord list. Okay, and you can get this list two ways. You can either go to gosection8.com and compile that list, or you can go to your local housing authority and get that list. You know, they'll publish a list of all of the properties that are for rent by Go Section 8. What happened is that a lot of landlords that cater to the Section 8 tenants, they don't like the tenants, or they don't like how sometimes the government delays their rent payments and stuff, and so they become motivated. They become tired landlords, and so they make good sellers for us. Now, they also make good buyers for us as well if they do like the Section 8 tenants. Do like the cash flow that they get from it, then they also make good buyers for us. But for today's purpose, we're talking about contacting them and try to buy their properties, right? Looking for tired landlords. Another type of list that's also pretty good is the landlord eviction list. And to get this list, you have to you have to contact your eviction courts. Here, I don't know how it works in other cities, but here in Houston, we have different precincts, and so I think there's like 18 different precincts here in Houston, and so depending on where I want to buy properties, I'll go to that precinct, and I will ask them for a list of all of the eviction notices, and a lot of precincts don't have these things online, so it's a very manual process. You come to them, they'll give you a binder, and then you have to sit there and you have to handwrite all of these eviction notices, and then you go back home and mail to these people. So it requires some work, but the good thing about it is that there's hardly any competition at all that work these lists. Okay, and so so you can send a college kid, an intern, an assistant down and compile this list and mail to them. A lot of landlords who are having to go through evictions, they're pretty sick and tired of the property. They're pretty sick and tired of landlording, and so it's a great way to find them. Okay. Another type of list that's that's also very good, and this is one of those lists that's that also has a you have to follow up with this list more to the first mailing that you mail to them is you're not going to get a good response, but as you mail to them more and more, you get better and better response, which is the delinquent taxes list. In today's market, man, there's a lot of properties that are delinquent on their taxes, and a lot of time, especially if they don't have escrow. Okay, because when the mortgage market was good, a lot of people got properties and they got it on these these loans where they didn't get escrow, so that way the mortgage payments will be lower. Okay. And because of that, a lot of them, at the end of the year, they couldn't afford to pay for their taxes because now all of the taxes are coming due at the same time. And so, so they might be current on their mortgage, but they get behind on their taxes, because of the big amount. We're talking about $3,000-$5,000 or more that hit them at the same time at the end of the year, and so they get delinquent on them. And once they get delinquent on their taxes, what a lot of the time what happen is that the mortgage payment will, not the mortgage, the mortgage company will will sometimes pay for those taxes and then escrow it into the mortgage, and now the mortgage payment jump like drastically. So let's say the mortgage payment used to be $1,000 a month, but because the mortgage company pay for the delinquent taxes, so now their mortgage end up to be, say, $1,500 a month. And because of such a big jump like that, they can't make the mortgage payments anymore. So that's when they start getting into foreclosure. And so when you're mailing them from the time that they're delinquent on their taxes, you're catching them very, very early before they ever become delinquent on their mortgage. And so when they, when that happens, they start to look for, wanting to sell their property. And so, so that's a great time, because now they've been seeing your mailing, and now they'll contact you and see if you, see what you would offer them to, what you would offer to sell their house, to offer to buy the house for. Okay, so you can get the delinquent tax list from list providers like InfoUSA.com or RealQuest. That's a pretty easy list to get. So a lot of people have this list as well. So you do have more competition here. Okay. Another type of list is a divorce list. A lot of people, divorce situation, they want to get rid of their, they want to get rid of the house, so that way they can move on with their lives. And so divorce list is also another one of those lists that's pretty proven to work as well. Okay, all of these lists I'm sharing with you here are proven to have worked, and the type of deals you get from them are a little bit different depending on the list that you're going after, and you don't have to go after all of these lists at the same time. Okay, you can go, you can try one list at a time. And for example, like the fire damage list is a pretty easy list for you to get started with, or the probate list or the absentee owner list. So try them, and then as you find them working for you, you can expand into other lists. The more marketing you do, the more deals you're gonna get. Okay. All right. Let me see here. Before I get to the expired listing, let's talk about the 60 to 90 days late. The 60 to 90 days late is very similar to the pre-foreclosure list here, right? Except for these people are only late on their mortgage. They haven't been, there's no notice of default filed against, so there's no public record yet filed against them. Okay, so it's pretty, it's just that on their credit report, there's a 60 to 90 days late. You can even do 32, but 30 days late, that's not a very good, it's not a very motivated list. And this list is not something you can buy yourself. Okay, this list you have to you need to work with a mortgage broker to be able to get this list, because this list, like I said, pulls their credit report. It's not a public record. But DMLeadSource.com is where you can buy a list like this. Okay, like I said, they're not going to let you, they don't sell it to anybody. They'll sell it to a mortgage broker. So you do have to have a connection with, you do have to have connection with a mortgage broker, and that mortgage broker will have to buy the list, and then there's certain rules and guidelines that you have to follow to mail to that list, and there's a disclosure that you have to mail to. And so, yeah, get with a mortgage broker and then contact this company and buy the list from them. Okay. All right. You know, a lot of time you might see some gurus have sold this list, and when they sell this list, they'll sell it for anywhere from $1 to $2 per name, because this list is pretty hard to get. But when you contact this, this is like you're going directly to the source. This is where the gurus buys it from. Okay, so instead of paying $1 to $2 a name, when you go directly to the source, you're buying it for like about 12 to 16 cents a name, depending on the volume that you're buying it at. Okay. The next type of list is expired listings. Now, expired listing has a lot of competition because all of the real estate agents, will will market to this list as well. And so you do have a lot of competition with expired listings because they're pretty easy to get with the MLS. Now, the type of leads that are really good with expired listings is if you're doing like owner financing flips or lease option flips or mortgage assignments, then those type of deals are perfect. Expired listings are great for those types of deals, right? And so so in your marketing, you can you can in your marketing make sure you are against realtors because they're being hit with a lot. The realtors have been listing their properties, didn't get it sold, and so you want to be upfront and said, hey, we're not going to list your house, we're not going to charge you a commission, we want to buy your house. And so you make sure you're very clear with them your intention. But expired listings are very motivated sellers to do creative deals. Because they already know that they couldn't get the house sold the traditional way, and so they're willing to be creative. They're willing to sell it subject to. They're willing to sell it on lease option or owner financing, and so yeah, if you're going after the expired listings, then make sure you keep that in mind. All right, I'm gonna answer your if you have questions, go ahead and submit them. Right now, answer. Maria asked, I had a wholesaler who had a 65% of ARV property, but she wanted her deal closed in 10 days in proof of funds. Can you do 10 days closing with your staff? What is your average time for closing? Maria, it depends on the deal. Go ahead and submit that deal to us as soon as possible. We'll market it and we'll see if we can find a buyer. Okay, and find a buyer quick enough. But if you the average closing time is 2 weeks, 14 days. So 10 days is pretty tight. But if the deal is a really sweet deal, we might be able to find a cash buyer that can close. And if the title, assuming the title is ready, like there's no title search needed, it's all title already open. We might be able to find a buyer that can close in 3 to 7 days. And so go ahead and submit that deal to us, okay, Maria? Let me see here. Will this updated mind map be available for us to use? The answer is yes. Every week we update that same mind map, so you just download that same mind map, okay? So yes, it'll be there. Jeremy asked, what service do you use for your direct mail? I use a local company. If you open up if you open up like your phone book, if you still use that, right? Or if you go like yellowpages.com and you're looking for mail processing centers, you can find a local company in your area. If you want to use a, if you don't care for a local company, my friend at Sales Team Live does all of the mailing for real estate investors that you can sign up with. Sales Team Live, salesteamlive.com. Just let them know that Tim Mai sent you. and they'll take good care of you, so you can use that as well. But for me personally, I use a local company. Or if I don't use a local company, if I'm just sending out postcards, I use Click-to-Mail, which is a USPS service, which is also very easy to use. Okay. Click-to-Mail from USPS.com or .gov. Yeah, Richard asked, what was the method you said has the least competition? The least competition would be, let me see here. Let me reorganize them. Probate list doesn't have too much competition, so let me just move them here. Probate, fire damage doesn't have much competition. Landlord eviction list doesn't have much competition. So yeah, these have less competition here. Code violation condemned doesn't have too much either, you know. But yeah, those are the ones up here, the ones with I would say fire damage probably have the least competition. That order. Okay. How do you get a fire damage property under contract and then assign it? Yeah, I mean, fire damage you're dealing with a normal homeowner, just like any other type of deal. So you get it under contract from them, and then you can assign it to another investor, or you can wholesale it to another investor. But all of these lists are normal homeowners that owns them, so you deal with them directly. Do you have an example of postcards that you said you sent out as far as what they say? In the members area, in the members area, in the bonus on the members area, there should be there's an example of my check letter that I sent out, as well as postcards as well. So check in the members area. Yeah, and then click2mail.com is click and then the number 2 mail.com. Jeremy said, how do you find buyers for fire damage properties? You know, fire damage properties, I mean, they're the type of buyers for them is not that much different from a wholesale deal buyer. It's just that your buyer pool is less because the people who will buy them are more likely they're rehabbers, they're not landlords, because landlords don't want properties that need that much repairs. They want a lot less repairs, and so it will typically be a more experienced rehabber. They're going to buy it, fix it up, and then resell it. And they do want more discounts. I guess the best way to find buyers for fire damage properties would be to contact all of the hard money lenders in your area, and you know, and ask them if they you know, if one of their clients might be interested in buying this property from you, because a lot of these rehabbers, these serious rehabbers, or they've been around for a while, so hard money lenders know them because they borrow money from these companies. And so, you know, by you offering this deal to their clients, it's a chance for them to make money on the loan. And so, if a hard money lender is willing to lend on this deal of yours, so you can, you know, approach these hard money lenders and say, hey, I have this deal, you know, would you be willing to lend on it? And if they say yes, then you can ask them, hey, do you know, because this house needs a lot of repairs, do you have any of your clients might be interested in buying this property from me? And so you get those hard money lenders to go to work and find you and sell this property to one of their clients for you. Hey, John, I noticed you're on, and so
yep, I'm here.
Yeah, if you want to jump in anytime, you're more than welcome to.
Okay.
All right. Any other questions, y'all? Okay, let me see here. Ron said, I had a deal that was at 65% of ARV. The house was owned by a wholesaler, and my contact had an assignment on it. I sent him a flex option, but he wouldn't sign it. He wanted me to give him a deposit and buy the house with using double close between him and my buyer. What should I do in this case? Okay. Well, number one, you need to explain to him your intention and explain to him that the flex option does not cost him any money and it does not tie him up. Let him know that you will that you will double close it with your end buyer, between him and your end buyer. However, the flex option just gives you the right to market it to your buyer, so that way you're doing it legally and above board. And let him know that it doesn't cost him anything, and he can continue to market his property to his buyer just like he normally does, what he's currently doing. And so you're not asking him to sign a contract and tie him up. I think the issue here is that he thinks that you're going to be tying him up, and so make sure you explain that to him, that you're not tying him up. He can market to sell it to his buyers like he's doing right now. And so your effort is just extra effort. You're going to work for him, to try to get this house sold even faster. And so if you find a buyer first, then great. You will convert your flex option into a contract, give him earnest money deposit, and double close it with your buyer. And at that point, you're going to use the earnest money from your buyer that's giving you the earnest money to give it to this wholesaler. Right? But right now, before you can even market it to your buyer, you need him to sign the flex option and make sure he's clear that it doesn't cost him anything. Okay. Tom asked, how many days until closing do you typically put in your purchase contract? Well, depending on who you're dealing with, if I'm dealing directly with the homeowner, then I'll put 30 days. If I'm dealing with a wholesaler, then it depends on what his contract says, how many days before he needs to close it by. And so that depends. So when I'm dealing with a wholesaler, it's typically 14 to 30 days. When I'm dealing with a homeowner, it's 30 to 45 days. So depending on the deal. Cynthia, no, we did not meet our goal. And we still have people reporting to us. Cynthia asked, did you meet your goal of 1,000 deals in 30 days? Yeah, I don't think everybody reported to us, the deals that they were doing. And so whatever deal that people are reporting to us is the deal that we have. Like I just got an email from one of the students on the 30-day challenge last week. He's on his second deal, but when he already closed his second deal, but when he closed his first deal, he didn't even tell us about it. So I'm sure there's a lot of other students that were like that. So no, but yeah, I don't know how many deals that were actually done from the 30-day challenge. Any other questions, y'all? Okay, Tom asks, absentee owners, do you market to it? Which source provider do you use? How often do you market to a seller? If you currently, I'm not doing any mailing for absentee owners. Most of my marketing right now is on the internet. But yeah, I mean, as far as buying the list, you can buy it from either InfoUSA or RealQuest. and you can use click2mail.com to send it out. Okay.
Listsource.com is another one.
Right.
They offer absentee owners.
Yeah. Right. Listsource.com is another one. That's I mean, there's a lot of, like, if you go on the internet and search for search for lists, there's a lot of companies out there that provide those type of lists. Okay. And how often should you mail to them? I would mail to them like every 30 days, do your campaign for 4 to 7 mailings until and track it. Track to see how much it's costing you per deal, and as your cost per deal increases, because what happened is that the ideal amount of time for you to mail to them is 4 times. If you mail them less than 4 times, you haven't like warmed them up, and so the more follow-up, the better. But once you go beyond 4 times, like 5, 6, 7, your returns start to diminish because if they because they've already seen your pieces, and if they haven't contacted you, say after 7 times, there's a lesser chance. And so 4 times is what I found to be a good number of follow-ups. And that's not just applicable to mailing, but that's also applicable to any kind of follow-up that you do, like email or phone calls. So, when a homeowner first say no to you, don't give up the first time, okay? Just keep on following up with them for at least 4 times. Jeremy said, how do you find truly distressed, motivated sellers on the internet without spending too much time? With any of these leads, it's either time or money. And also it has to do with, and how you find good motivated sellers has to do with how exposed they are. A lot of time on the internet, like let's say if you're going after Craigslist leads, for example, where everybody can see those leads, normal individuals, other investors, and so it's harder for you to find good deals, good motivated sellers through Craigslist if you if you contact them from the ads. However, if you instead of doing that, you actively run, let's say, a pay-per-click campaign for homeowners, and when they search on Google for like "we buy houses" and your ad comes up, it costs you money. That doesn't cost you any time. It costs you money, and there's a lot less competition than that homeowner advertising their property on Craigslist or on some websites out there. And so, if you want to find motivated sellers, like motivated sellers on the internet with not as much competition, then and you don't want to spend a lot of time, you have to spend money to advertise to them. Let me see if I can pull this up. Another thing that you can do, and this will take longer. This will take longer for you to do. But so I went on Google here and I searched "we buy houses," okay? And here's like an ad here that you can run. These top 3 here are ads. On the right side here are also ads, okay? And so these are what you call pay-per-click, okay? Now, if you scroll down, if you see here, right after the ad, yours might see something a little bit different, but see this website, sellmyhomeforcash.com? That's my website. Now, I spent money in the beginning to get the search engine optimization to work for it to show up here, and so without and so I don't have to pay money for people to see my ad, and they'll see it, and they'll see it, and they'll fill out their information, and we'll get those leads. Okay. All right. So that's just to give you an example. Okay. And so this doesn't cost me any money. Each time the seller click on this and fill out the information, but it costs me money in the beginning to hire people to get my website up, up to rank high. Okay. Hope that answers your question. So then I asked, what Pacific time zone area do you recommend for wholesaling besides LA or San Diego? Specific time zone. I don't know. I guess Vegas is another market that a lot of wholesaling is going on in Vegas right now because the prices are so cheap. So a lot of people are buying into Vegas right now. So that could be a Pacific time zone market. Like Arizona, Phoenix, Arizona. I think they are they specific or Mountain Time Zone? I don't remember, but yeah. So all of those markets that got hit, hard, and now the prices are really cheap. Those are good markets. Let me see. Tom said, how much would you pay a person to go to the courthouse and pull probate leads? John, how much did you pay your people to do that?
We had a girl going once every other week, and I think we only paid her $50 to go down there. It only took her about an hour to do it, and that was when that was when there were some changes going on our county website, and we're back to the point now where we can get everything that we need for probate and for evictions right off of the website. Oh, cool. So we've saved that cost, and now we're able to do weekly mailings instead of every other week. But we've still, I know I talked to you about this, Tim, is we've got a system down where we figured out what we need to pull, and we said, well, why don't we turn around and why don't we sell these leads, right? And so, so that's kind of a good question there, is how much would you pay somebody to go down there to pull them? And I know Preston Ely had actually done this in the past, and he just put an ad in the in Craigslist looking for a courthouse researcher, and I think he ended up finding somebody for like $400 a month that would go to 4 different courthouses once a week, which is that's dirt cheap. $100 a week for 4 different courthouses. Right, that's pretty cheap. Yeah, so you can do that. I don't think you're going to get any cheaper than $50, every time you send somebody down there. And you're going to have to teach them how to do it the first time as well. Right. Yeah, I don't think you can get it cheaper than $50 either. For me in the past, I just had my assistant do it, and so whatever the hourly rate is for my assistant, and that's what it cost me. But yeah, I mean, like John's talking about $50, that's really cheap. If once you go down there, like the first time you should go down there yourself. You're going to see there's other people down there already doing these research. And they do research for companies like realtytrack.com, foreclosure.com, those type of companies. And those companies pay them a per lead fee, and so, or a per day fee.
And so you can approach them and say, hey, since you're already down here doing research, would you be interested in doing research for me, and I'll pay you money? And and some of them will do that. And so go down to the courthouse. If your courthouse is not available online, if these information is not available online with your courthouse, then go down there and find out who are the other people doing research. There's like I said, there's people who are doing it for realty tract. There's people doing it for probate attorneys, foreclosure attorneys. So they do it from several different companies, and you can talk to them, and they might do it for you as well. That might be cheaper. Ron said, when you do mail outs, to have the absentee owners contact you at the website, or take a phone call or recorded message. I normally like them to call us live, and so my assistant will answer the call live, and that's just the way we do it. Now everybody's different. Like if you talk to, say, Michael Jake, for example, one of our wholesale masters, he likes them to call his recorded message, and so try whatever works for your area. For us, we like to take the calls live. Let me see here. Marie said, also one of the wholesalers whose name and phone numbers appear on property lists, when I call him, said he doesn't have any deals. I don't know why he says that. I see his name in many properties in the LA area. I don't know either, Maria. Maybe he sold them? I don't know. Renee said, can you tell us how to locate the leads at the courthouse? It's best if you go to the county clerk's office and ask the people down there, because every county is going to be a little bit different, and so so go down there and ask them on how ask them, like where do people file for foreclosure, and where do people file for notice to creditors, probate. And so just ask the lady down at the county clerks, and she should be able to tell you. Okay. Do newspaper list bankruptcy? If so, what section would it be? Not all newspapers, but the section would be the notice to creditor section, and so you look through all of the notice to creditors, and they'll tell you who the executor is, and and so you start with that. But like here in Houston, we have a company called the Daily Court Review, which is a newspaper that specializes in posting these type of notices for probate, for foreclosure, for tax sales, and so it's a newspaper that's like I said, caters specifically to that niche. Our daily newspaper, the Houston Chronicle, they have some probate notice to creditor ads listings, but it's not many. It's not as much as the Daily Court Review. And so so check with your city. Every city is going to be a little bit different. Any other? I'm sorry. You were asking the daily newspaper list bankruptcy. No, daily newspaper do not list bankruptcy. I thought you were asking about probate. Sorry. But go to Pacer. Pacer has all of the bankruptcy listings. Okay, so go to this website and sign up for an account and get the list. All right, y'all. let me see here. Carlos said, at my courthouse, the guard directed me right to the proper office for probates, and they have computers with the info and people to help you out. Good. So there you go. So just go to your courthouse and check. All right. Well, yeah. Since there's no more questions, we'll go ahead and end tonight's webinar. Thank you so much, y'all, for coming on to this webinar. Remember, we are going to do a bonus week, which is week number 8. I believe it's on December. Let me see here, December 28th. So we're going to go on and do webinars all the way until the end of December, right? And so and bonus bonus 8. Week number 8 is when we'll talk all about the buyers. So week number 6, we're still going to be talking about finding deals using broadcast media. Week 7, we'll talk about auctions and some other ways to find deals. And so just to let you know that. All right, y'all. Well, you guys have a great evening. And I look forward to talking to you guys next week. All right. Bye-bye for now.
Bye, guys.
Bye, y'all.